UFC 325 just wrapped up, and I'm about to give you my whole reaction to the entire card. Starting with the early prelims, we got Grangbo versus Lawrence Louis. Very close fight. Um, yeah, I'm gonna be honest, I wasn't really paying attention to the Road to UFC fights as much. Had a lot of shit going on. But anyway, Lawrence Louis gets the job done. I heard some arguments for Grangbo, but I don't think it was a robbery. I think it was a close fight. Not all close fights are robberies, so solid performance from both. They give it to Lawrence Louis. Kichiro Nakamura. Now, a lot of people were picking Sebastian, and I stayed strong. I stayed strong with Nakamura, and he got the job done. I think Sebastian was probably edging it in the first two rounds, but then midway point through that third round, Kichiro lands a solid straight knee up the middle, knocks Sebastian out. Great finish, and a solid fight. Wins the Road to UFC featherweight final. Congratulations to him. Next up, Sangwoo Kim versus Damar Fan. Damn, I don't even remember who I picked. I think I picked Frogman. I forgot which one Frogman though. I'm not gonna lie, I did not watch this fight. I'll be honest, I didn't. But I saw some highlights, and it looked like Damar Fan had a pretty good performance. So shout out to him. Now this one I'm mad about. This one I'm very mad about. Khan Ovely versus Yiza. Khan Ovely did not win that fight in any world. There is not a single world where Khan Offley beat Yiza. Yiza dropped him. I believe Yiza controlled the range, controlled most of the striking exchanges. Everything was on his terms, landed takedowns. Man, this is a robbery, and it's kind of shameful, especially that it's in Australia. Kind of shows the bias there, but what can you do? Good performance from Yiza. I believe he should have won, and he's a sick ass tattoo. Prelims, we get the real UFC fights. Jonathan McCallum versus Oban Elliott. Submission out of nowhere. First takedown he lands, first dominant position he gets, and he submits Oban Elliott. I picked Oban Elliott. I thought Oban Elliott was going to do a little bit better, and he was doing well on the feet, but he just had no answer on the ground. As soon as it hit the ground, it was over. And Jonathan McCallum, who is, pause before I say this, but the motherfucker's like sub 5% body fat. Like, do you see this motherfucker? Anyway, good performance with Jonathan McCallum. I believe he has some real potential in this division. I thought Oban Elliott was pretty good. I guess I was wrong. Up next, Jacob Malkoun versus Torres Finney. This is what I like to see, man. I picked Jacob Malkoun because I think Torres Finney's garbage, and I was correct. And it was kind of a sloppy fight, but Jacob Malkoun kept the pressure, and Torres Finney had some sort of injury in one of those rounds, but he wasn't winning that fight either way. Jacob Malkoun actually landed the takedowns on Torres Finney, which was surprising. I thought it was mainly going to be pressure on the feet that won him the fight, but he just beat him everywhere. I think Torres Finney probably needs to be cut, but maybe give him another shot against someone at the bottom of the division. But anyway, good performance from Jacob Malkoun. Up next, Cam Ralston versus Cody Brundage. This is what you got to do to Cody Brundage. You just gotta TKO. I was concerned for a minute because there was a nut shot. And we know how Cody Brundage is with fouls. We know he can make a foul turn into a no contest or a DQ win for himself. So I was a little bit nervous when that happened. But the fight ended up continuing, and Cam Ralston ended up getting it done. And a solid all-around performance. Cody Brundage is tough, but Cam Ralston controlled the fight and easily got the finish in the second. Good job there. Prelim headliner. Like, what? I had Billy Elikana by round 1 or round 2 submission, and round 2 submission he got as soon as the fight hit the ground. Junior Tafa was actually landing some solid strikes on the feet, and I was getting a bit worried. I was like, oh shit, my parlay might be cooked. My parlay was cooked, but not here. Billy Elikana gets it done via submission in the second round. I would like to see his striking improve, but Junior Tafa is not awful on the feet in that first round. We get to the second and third round, cardio starts to show. We start to realize why he's so shit. I think he finally needs to be cut from the UFC. I don't know why he's still in the UFC after his past few fights. Um, did I miss something? Junior Taffa got a knockdown? I just forced myself to rewatch that fight. Junior Taffa didn't look bad on the feet. He looked in shape as well. He looked the most in shape we've ever seen him. But yeah, with that being said, my opinions don't change. He landed good shots on the feet in that first round. Billy Lacana still took him to the ground and subbed him in the second easily. Um, not as clean as I initially perceived from Billy Lacana. I guess I missed that knockdown watching it live. I was a little, you feel me? But yeah, anyways, solid performance from Billy Lacana nonetheless. Got the submission win. At least he didn't take it to a decision. On to the main card, which is what we're all here for. Jamie Malarkey versus Quinlan Salakid. Quinlan Salakid just made it look easy. He did get taken down, and for a moment there, I was like, "Oh my gosh, Jamie Malarkey might Neil Magny this. He might make it. He might make it last to a decision, and get a split decision win, a gritty split decision win." But of course, that didn't happen. Quinlan Salakid absolutely manhandled him. Not as much striking as I expected. More just tossing him around like a baby. Had a really nice throw on Jamie Malarkey that we don't see a lot in men's MMA. And as soon as he got dominant position, it was over. Too strong for Jamie Malarkey. Quinlan Salakid gets the first round submission win, and he got a bonus. Congratulations to him. That's $100,000, especially for these upcoming fighters. That is a big amount of money. But congratulations to Quinlan Salakid. I believe I had him by knockout, but I'll take the finish for Quinlan. Up next on the card. Holy shit. Tai Tuivasa versus Taliesin Teixeira. I picked Taliesin Teixeira by TKO. And wow, this was awful. Both fighters need to get cut. These guys should never in any world be ranked. Ever. Two fat blobs just gassing out before the third round even starts, taking breaks mid-round. Tai Tuivasa could have finished the fight in the third round, could have come back and finished the fight. But he got tired. He got tired and had to put his hands on his hips and relax a little bit. So did Taliesin Teixeira. But Taliesin Teixeira secured the first two rounds. First round went straight to the grappling, good control. Nothing much happened though. And then second round kind of just outworked Tai Tuivasa, which, as you can probably assume, is not the most difficult thing to do. Almost gets finished in the third round. But Tai Tuivasa is so fat that he doesn't have the cardio to continue and has to take a break in between flurries. Awful fight. Horrible win for Taliesin Teixeira. Tai Tuivasa is on a 6-fight losing streak. Cut him from the UFC. Taliesin Teixeira almost got finished by said 6-fight losing streak. Cut him from the UFC too. I don't want to see him. I mean, like, where's the effort here? I feel like you're a professional athlete. You're getting paid like a professional athlete. You should probably act like a professional athlete. But that's just my opinion. Who am I to say anything? Up next, Rafael Fiziev versus Mauricio Ruffi. Now, I was on the fence on this one, but I ended up picking Mauricio Ruffi by first round TKO. He ended up getting the TKO late in the second round. Now, in the beginning of the first round, or the first round in general, I thought Rafael Fiziev was doing really well in the kicking range, just moving in and out, landing body kicks, kind of disrupting Mauricio's rhythm. And I thought he edged out that first round. Mauricio was landing nice with his hands, but it wasn't anything significant enough to overpower what I saw Rafael doing with his kicks. But moving into the second, the tides started to turn a little bit. The physicality and imposing of pressure from Mauricio Ruffi really started to open up some opportunities for him on the feet. And late in that second round, landed a mean right hand, and just I love how Mauricio Ruffi will time his attacks. He won't just go in overzealous for the finish. He will time his attacks and make sure the next hit after he rocks someone lands. And he did that, Finish Rafael Fiziev. Huge statement win. Finishing Rafael Fiziev on the feet is an incredible victory. And I think Mauricio Rufy, if he can improve his ground game, he might be back on that hype train. This is a huge win. He got a performance bonus. I heard he had a lot of difficulties in this camp. I heard he was very sick and was questionable to even fight yesterday, but still made it on the mat. Still got the job done. And the fighting nerds, resurgence. Kyle, your time is next. Let's go. On to the co-main event. Dan Hooker versus Benoit Saint Denis. I was very happy in the beginning. This first round, Benoit was still pressuring, but Dan was landing good shots. He was defending takedowns well. He almost had a tight guillotine. I don't think guillotines work in this level of MMA, but it was there. But the second round, man, it's just like, what are you doing? You're shooting takedowns on the grappler, the strong, physically imposing grappler that just destroyed Mauricio Rufy last fight, and you just got destroyed via grappling in your last fight, and you shoot a takedown, and it just fucks you over. You had the rest of the second round and the entire third round to work, but you want to go for a takedown. I just don't get it, man. I just don't get it. He was doing fairly well in that first round, and prior to him shooting a takedown. Don't get me wrong, Benoit was landing shots too, but I believe these are the type of fights that Dan thrives in. Like a little rough start, competitive, and then as they need to get gritty, Dan starts to take over. Dan starts to land the big shots, and I thought Dan was eventually gonna get there and get the TKO, but man, it's disappointing, man. Dan's one of my favorite fighters. That doesn't change at all. But man, I think he definitely needs to step down. I don't know who they would give him. I know he jokingly called out Michael Chandler for the White House. If Michael Chandler fights again, shit, do it. Do it. They're both washed up. If he loses to Chandler, I don't know where he goes from there, but I don't think he loses to Chandler. But man, it's just disappointing because he had a fight lined up with Gaethje, and a fight I was gonna pick Dan Hooker against Justin Gaethje. I was, and I don't think that really changes because it's not like he lost on the feet, he got picked apart on the feet, he got TKO'd or anything, but it just shows that he's not at that level that those top really 8 guys are at. And I don't know, man. Maybe him versus Rufy would be a fun fight as well. But solid performance from Benoit Saint Denis. He fights like he always does. I really can't say I'm surprised or overly impressed with Benoit. I mean, it's hard when a fighter makes such a big mistake that costs him the fight because it's kind of difficult for me to give credit to Benoit now because I feel like Hooker getting finished was more on him than it was with Benoit's skill set. But nonetheless, all credit to Benoit Saint Denis. It was a solid scrap while it lasted, but it is what it is. Benoit Saint Denis gets the job done. It's TKO round 2. On to the main event. Alexander Volkanovski versus Diego Lopez. Now, this is pretty much what I thought was gonna happen. I had Volkanovski by decision. I didn't think it was gonna be too close. I thought it was. I don't know. I thought it was closer than a lot of people are saying. I don't believe 50-45 was the right scorecard. I thought Diego Lopez won round 3, but let's see. Let's check the round 3 totals. Yeah, very close, very close. Where was the knockdown? I believe they didn't count it. Well, I think the knockdown was round 3, I believe. So I don't know. It was very close. Volkanovski had a guillotine. It wasn't really tight though. I mean, it was tight, but it wasn't a good position to have. And Diego Lopez, man, I don't know. It's hard because he lost twice to the champion now, but he just beat Jean Silva. So it's kind of like, where does he go from here? I think they should do the Yair match. Yair Rodriguez was Diego Lopez. If you look into the lore, there's a lot of drama. It goes very deep between those two. And I think that'd be a good grudge match. I feel like it should have happened instead of this fight and before the Jean Silva fight. But I don't know where Yair is at, to be honest. I don't think he's fought in a long time. But yeah, anyway, Volkanovski mainly just controlling it on the feet most of the time. I thought he was going to implement more of his ground game, but Diego Lopez did a good job being bigger, stronger, and just being able to resist most of the time. Volk did land a few takedowns and sat on Diego's face at the end of the fifth round, which was interesting. It's not something I personally would have gone for. It's not my favorite position to be in, but Volkanovski, Diego, they all have their preferences. But I was very nervous. I was very nervous when Volk got dropped. I will say that. But that's the only time I was nervous. This fight was kind of felt useless to me, but it's always good to see Volkanovski win. He's the featherweight GOAT for a reason. He's my featherweight GOAT. He's in my top 5 GOATs of all time. And yeah, Volkanovski is him. That's my UFC 325 reaction, and I'll see y'all later. Peace out.